Joining us by Zoom is Eric Melillo, the Member of Parliament for Kenora. Hey, it's James with NetNewsLedger, joining us from Kenora here in a very cold Western and Northern Ontario weekend is Eric Melillo, the Member of Parliament for Kenora. Welcome, Eric.
Good morning.
What do our readers and viewers need to know this week?
Yeah, this week was a busy week, virtually taking part in debates in Ottawa, and of course, vaccines was front and center in that discussion. We've seen some positive developments, of course, here in northwestern Ontario, communities like Muskrat, Neskantaga, and others that have begun receiving vaccines, and many that are well on their way actually to vaccinating large populations. So that's been positive news. But taking a step back, of course, and looking at the federal landscape, the slow trickle of vaccine procurement into the country is obviously a major concern for me, for my party, and I think for all Canadians, because we know if we're going to get back to normal, if we're going to be able to secure our health and our economy, that vaccines are obviously going to play a vital role in that.
One of the issues this week I noticed was the top story on the BBC World News was that Canada was pulling virus vaccine out of a fund that's really for the third world.
Yeah, that's that's something that I think shows just that the lack of preparation we have, that we're actually having to go to this fund that is designated for developing countries. So we are the only G7 country that is utilizing that mechanism, and it really comes down to the fact that we did not have an effective procurement plan off the hop, and I think the lack of transparency around the contracts and what sort of deals we actually struck is also concerning, because we need vaccines, we need rapid testing, and we need information. Those are definitely the big three things we need if we're going to beat this virus and get our lives back on track. And we're unfortunately lagging in all three of those.
That's one of the ones this week we've been talking to a lot of people across the country, business groups, the Chamber of Commerce here in Thunder Bay, the Canadian Federation for Independent Business, their Ontario director. And one of the messages that seems to be coming from a lot of people right now is that we'll do anything that we can to help end this pandemic, but they don't feel that they're getting all the information they need. Do you think the government is doing as good a job as they could communicating with Canadians?
I truly don't. I think from the federal point of view, we've seen the goalposts moving in many occasions. We've seen, they said one thing and then done another or said another, and that comes down to, again, rapid testing. It comes down to vaccines. It comes down to what businesses should be doing, what individuals should be doing, and granted, we do understand this is an unprecedented time, and that knowledge was changing as things progressed. But I have pressed many times in the House of Commons, senior cabinet ministers, the Deputy Prime Minister herself, to say, what are we working towards? What are the projections we need, the vaccination rates, et cetera? What are the metrics we're using to determine when we might be able to have a safe reopening of our economy? And even the transport minister in the House this week and last, he wasn't able to confirm that vaccinated people would be able to travel. So the question that arises is, if you can't travel once you've been vaccinated, then when can you? And we understand that the government is obviously working very closely with public health officials to determine all of these things. But from the government side, they definitely need to be more transparent about what they are hearing and what they are working towards, so that all Canadians can understand.
It's interesting this week, because the first video report that I did on the Wuhan coronavirus, and we didn't really even have the names into it yet at that point, was on February the 3rd. The world death toll at that point was 340 people. And China was building hospitals that literally to house thousands and getting them up. They wanted them up in 10 days. And at that point, the government was saying, well, this probably isn't going to be a factor here. Nobody, you're absolutely right when you say this has been a developing situation, because we've had a lot of information come in that's changed over time, and we've had more changes and it keeps evolving. So it's a really evolving situation. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot of Canadians that are feeling the COVID fatigue. You know, the Prime Minister this week was, I know we're all sick of this. Well, he's right. But what do we got to do to solve it?
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously from the federal point of view, what we have to do to solve it is widespread rapid testing and procurement of vaccines so that they can be distributed more widely. And then, you know, when Canadians are seeing that the vaccines aren't coming in and that the potential for lockdowns and restrictions to continue as a result, you know, I understand why people are frustrated and why they're sort of losing faith in the federal government, because they've been saying one thing for forever, and now you know, that light at the end of the light at the end of the tunnel we were supposed to see, it seems to be getting further and further away. So I think that transparency is paramount, and you know, as we've been mentioning, it's paramount not just for you know, for understanding the health situation, but for the economic situation as well, for the businesses that when they can reopen, you know, of course what the border situation might look like moving forward. These are all very important questions that we need to have, if not a definitive answer, a much clearer picture of where we're heading, because, you know, Northern Ontario, we're a seasonal industry. I argue every single business is seasonal in some capacity here. You know, it's February. It's going to be spring. It's going to be summer very soon. So our businesses need to have some clear indication from the federal government of what that season is going to look like.
Now, to shift a little bit to some of the good news that is out there, something that we've been reporting is the work that the Canadian Rangers are doing to help get the vaccine into northern communities. And, you know, that this has just been inspiring.
Absolutely, and that's something I mentioned off the top with Neskantaga and Muskrat Dam, and of course, many northern communities have been receiving the vaccine, and the Canadian Rangers have done an amazing job on the ground to ensure that process is as seamless as possible. And I mean, I just really like to tip my hat to them and to all of our frontline workers who they're prepared, they're ready to go, they're doing great work. We just need to help them out and get them some more tools so that they can continue to do their job.
And Eric, a message for the people in the Kenora riding.
Well, let me just say I'm you know, I'm extremely honored to continue working for the people in the Kenora riding, and we actually had Aaron O'Toole join Northern Ontario virtually yesterday for a bit of a tour meeting with a few different stakeholders, both in my riding and across the north. So I'm excited about his focus on Northern Ontario, and I know that you know, he understands that we need to stand up for the north, that we have very unique needs compared to the rest of the province and rest of the country, and it's something that that we're going to continue to fight for northern prosperity and securing our future.
And Eric, with the weather forecast looking like it is, stay bundled up. I doubt you're going to be going out for, you know, long walks in the evenings with this kind of wind chill we're going to be getting. So stay safe, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
To keep up to date, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that like button and hit the notification to stay in touch.